Let me read to you a passage from the second chapter of St. Luke's Gospel, verses 41 to 51. It's the Gospel for the memorial, the feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. St. Luke writes, each year the parents of Jesus went to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover, and when he was 12 years old, they went up according to the festival custom. After they had completed its days, as they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Thinking that he was in the caravan, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among their relatives and acquaintances, but not finding him, they returned to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions, and all who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished, and his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." And he said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. That's from Luke chapter 2, verse 41 to 51. We are led to think of Mary, the mother of Jesus. There are many tragedies in human life, but perhaps the saddest of all is when, as a result of such tragedies, a person turns his back on God and either refuses to believe that he exists or refuses to believe that he is good and trustworthy. Some dear member of his family suffers and dies, say a child, and the loss is absolutely devastating. How could, or rather why did God allow this? People are killed, lives are accidentally lost, one's savings are culpably squandered by others. Whatever it might be, there will be the temptation to think that there is no God, or that God is indifferent or even bad. Behind this is the refusal or inability to accept that the God of all things is far larger than the capacity of our own minds to encompass. Why do things turn out the way they do? The believer, and especially the Christian, has learnt to believe that a good God holds all in his hands, and so he trusts in faith and discerns amid the darkness the signs of the divine presence. God's is a kind and caring presence amid the mysteries of life. The heart of a Christian is a heart that trusts God and his revelation of himself despite the appearances. Of himself, man does not know why there is such a discordance between this revelation of God and what he sees in the world. In all this he trusts. He trusts in the revelation that has come from God. He trusts whatever be the darkness. Well now, on the feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, with this gospel we heard, we think of the utterly sinless heart of Mary, the mother of the Son of God made man. There have been 2 persons in history who have been utterly good without any trace of evil in their hearts. Jesus Christ, and through the grace and merits of Jesus Christ, her Son, Mary, his mother. Their hearts were immaculate in holiness, Mary's being a limpid human reflection of that of her Son. Today we think of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Yet despite her incomparable goodness, from a purely human perspective, many things went badly for her. The crowning instance of this was the awesome and indescribable sufferings and death of her Son. Our Gospel scene that I read earlier is a case in point, and we meditate on it when we pray the 5th joyful mystery of the Rosary. It is a joyful mystery because the 3 days of anxiety ended in joy, just as the passion and death of Jesus, her Son, ended on the 3rd day in the joy of the resurrection, and then in due course his ascension. Coming back from that feast, Jesus and his parents were separated, and it was only after a day's journey that they discovered he was missing. Imagine the anxiety that filled the holy hearts of Mary and Joseph, the darkness and the perplexity of it. They had before them the responsibility they had been given from on high of caring for and raising the Messiah, the hope of the world. He was the love of their life, and they knew the divine richness of his person, but he was gone. The 3 days of searching were 3 days of indescribable darkness. In this not uncommon human event, there is surely symbolized the darkness and mystery enveloping much of the great stream of ordinary human life. The ordinary everyman suffers disappointment, perplexity, and frustration very often. In Mary, the sinless one, every man has a model and a mother. In her, he has a mother who suffered the same uncertainties and anxieties, the same things that seemed to turn out badly, yet she trusted. She believed in the good God, and her faith never wavered, though it did not understand. In celebrating the Immaculate Heart of Mary, we remember that however badly things went from a human point of view, she never turned from God in the least sense. Darkness led to a great and more heroic trust. Moreover, in thinking of her Immaculate Heart, we think of the importance of the will. Though in many things she did not understand, yet in her will she remained absolutely trusting and faithful. We are reminded that the disposition of the heart and will is of greater importance than the understanding possessed by the mind. Let us glory in the gift Christ has made to us of his own mother. On the cross he saw before him his mother, immaculate in her sinlessness and ever trusting in her darkness. Her heart trusted in God and never failed him. She was mankind's woman of faith without compare. In her we have our model of what it means to live in a world so often groaning amid darkness, a world whose true light is the person of Christ and his ineffable revelation.